Hey everybody, and welcome to Growth Insights number 16. A lot of tools this time, so brace yourselves. A few things before we get started. First of all, as always, you can download all of the links to the resources and the tools that we share in this URL. By the way, we've started a new series called Website First Dates, where I have a first date with a website. I judge it based on first impressions, 5-second comprehension, time to the wow moment, persuasion tactics. Go check it out. Let us know what you think. Second little announcement, we've started an open source list of books that are really important for business and psychology. You can find the link over here. These are books that we believe you should be reading, and if you've read books that are not in this list, it's an open source list, so please add your books inside. Okay, let's kick it off. Start with one of my 3 favorite tools from the past month, overlaybi.com. It's a Chrome extension and shows you Google Analytics data directly on the pages you own and that you visit. So no more need to open 2 tabs to view simple stuff like traffic, sources, conversions, or Google Analytics events that you've set up. Pretty cool, time saver, check it out. Speaking of analytics and optimization, here's a new website optimization find. Web.dev scores your website on performance, accessibility, best practices, and SEO. Then it gives you a list of changes that you can make based on how much of an impact it will have. Run your site through the audit, see if there's some low-hanging fruit, and optimize your website. And while you're optimizing, let's optimize your meta tags. Thanks to Stefan for sharing metatags.io, it allows you to check the tags on your page and really easily generate new ones. As a little bonus, you can also get a preview of what your social cards will look like on different social networks. And on the subject of optimization still, of course, UX is vital for optimization. Thanks to Jean for sharing Mob in Design, which is a wonderful user experience and UI inspiration platform. It's got teardowns from a large collection of apps. It's a great way to feel the current pulse of mobile UX at the moment, and it was also a cool way for me to discover new apps. It can also give you great design inspiration. Now, when you need design inspiration, we sometimes like to go to competitors or complementary websites. We've talked about crayon.co in the past, which allows you to track certain websites and competitors for changes they make on their front end. And here's a new kid on the block. It's called changetower.com. It's free up to 3 URLs, and it does something similar. You put URLs that you want to track, and as soon as there's a change, it sends you a notification to your email inbox. You can go check out what change has been made. Now, the whole point of Growth Insights is for you to test out new tools, right? But you usually find yourself overwhelmed with all of these emails from these new tools. One technique is to use unroll.me, which we've talked about in the past. But one of my other favorite tools from the past weeks is called burneremail.io. It's basically a burner email Chrome extension. It's free up to 50 burner emails, and it avoids having to unroll from all of these annoying emails. You install the extension, and then it automatically creates burner emails for you. Check it out, this is really worth installing. And my third favorite tool from the past months was delivered by Growbots. It allows you to calculate the best time to send cold emails, or emails in general, based on the size of company, the industry, the job position, and the age of the company. It was based on over 10 million outbound sales emails sent by Growbot customers, and it's really interesting to see that Wednesday around 10 a.m. seems to be the sweet spot for a lot of industries and sizes of companies. Okay, but what if you don't have an email database? We shared tons of tools in the past for lead generation. And here's a new one. It's called contentlab.com, and it's a cute list to reach out to local influencers. They have 7,000 in total. It's usually people who are quite influential in the makers field, and it costs about $49 to get their Twitter and their email addresses. Now, once you've got a list of emails, how do you enrich that information with more data? We love Phantom Buster, and they've released a new feature. They've integrated a LinkedIn profile scraper. So when you're building your CRM, you sometimes need to gather information from LinkedIn contacts or prospects. Instead of copy-pasting, you can use their API and retrieve all of the data you need on the specific LinkedIn profiles you're targeting. Things like description, first name, last name, current job title, sometimes their phone number, Twitter, website, and their skills. Speaking of scraping, Mirella was looking for a way to grab all of the tweets from a specific person. Thanks to Thomas for sharing allmytweets.net/connect, which does exactly that. You input a Twitter handle, and it beautifully showcases all of the tweets from that person. Still on the subject of scraping, social media, and automation, here's a fantastic list of gray hat limitations that you should not go over if you're automating your social media activity. It's a list created by Jules Marigiano to make sure that you don't get banned or flagged from over-abusing social networks like Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. Now, you can actually find a lot of these on blackhatworld.com, but he's done the curation for us. In it, we discover that the max number of messages to send on LinkedIn is approximately 80 per day, how to warm up an Instagram account, and the fact that once you've warmed up an Instagram account, you shouldn't comment on more than 250 pictures per day. Check out the article full of interesting numbers and test it out for yourselves. Now, of course, if cold emailing, web scraping, and all those grey hat automations aren't for you, there's always paid options, and thanks to Case for sharing Ultimately, which is a crowdsourced database of paid traffic channels with integrated paid advertising opportunities. So it's a bunch of paid channels that you might not have thought of. Some of them are quite traditional, like Behance, Weibo, or Reddit, and some are a little bit less traditional. Oh, and speaking of paid social, thanks to Jim for pointing out that LinkedIn did some nice updates to their ad manager interface, which is now more similar to Facebook. And thanks to Julia for finding out that now in the Sales Navigator, it's possible to select the company growth in percentage. So you can now target companies on LinkedIn based on how fast they're growing. And if you're as addicted to LinkedIn as Jean is, you're going to want to check out this Chrome extension, which allows you to customize the look, feel, and behavior of the website. It basically gives you more control over your LinkedIn experience. Okay, now let's do a little bit of reading and video watching. We highly recommend this video that was shared by Bernardo, in which Kaczynski outlines the digital records of our behavior, like tweets or Facebook likes, can actually be used to accurately measure a wide range of your personality traits. You don't need to do a personality test for us to guess your personality anymore. This is the personality test, and all of the activity that I do on my phone, my mobile device during the day can be used to infer your personality traits. Pretty creepy, but pretty amazing. And if you don't have time to watch the video now, you can always listen to it later. Here's a great one shared by Ferdinand. It's called listenlater.io. You copy paste the YouTube URL into the tool, and then you can listen to the video on your podcast app later when you have time. Still on the subject of the brain, we've talked about cognitive biases in the past. It's really important for you to know your own cognitive biases and the biases of your consumers. You know, those biases that can trick your brain into doing things that are not rational. Here's a short list of them. We've shared longer lists in the past, but what's interesting about this site is that you can test yourself on some of them with some simple and fun questions. Play around with it, check it out. So how's your brain doing right now? Do you get distracted easily? We've talked about Freedom app in the past, which allows you to block certain software or certain websites when you know that you have an addiction to them. However, Freedom tends to be a little bit expensive. Here's a cheaper, lighter version with the same idea, and it's a Chrome extension. Simply install it, add the websites that you want to block, and launch a focus session. Happy deep work, everyone. And speaking of focus, here's an interesting one. If you can't focus on your online calls or your video calls because there's too much room in your open space office, here's a cool share by Jean called crisp.ai. If you're working in a busy or a loud area, this app, sorry, it's only for Mac, allows you to block some of the background noise. I tested it and it works surprisingly well. And now for something completely different. Did you know that according to a Harvard Business Review study, chief marketing officers have the lowest average tenure of any member of the C-suite? Why? Well, some of the researchers believe that a great deal of CMO turnover comes from poor job design. I kind of think that it's linked to the fact that CMOs don't track the impact of their efforts correctly. What do you think? And whatever you think, keep working on your data skills. And we've got just the thing. Here's a great resource shared by Bernardo called The Academy by Hull.io. It's a really deep and rich course on what you should be implementing for data analytics and how to implement it. For example, setting up your event-based tracking intelligently. They also have a strong section on how to build your marketing automation stack, looking into things like personalization, reporting, team alignment, and attribution. It's kind of a long read, but it's well worth it. While we're on the subject of attribution, thanks to Julia for sharing a new attribution feature from Facebook. Facebook's new attribution measurement tool was designed to give people like you a more holistic view of the customer journey, both on and off Facebook. Now, of course, data and analytics is nothing if you can't communicate it within the organization. We've talked about data visualization tools in the past. Here's a new, small and cute one. It's a cool little site that I see as a one-on-one course on data visualization. Diagram lists the 21 most used forms of data visualization and breaks them down for you in detail. Here I can see a full breakdown of bar charts, chord charts, Marimekko charts, scatter plots, you name it, it's all there. Still on the subject of data visualization, check out chartify.io. It's kind of gimmicky, but it allows you to build small charts for presentations in minutes. Nothing advanced, but good customization options. Speaking of presentations, thanks to David Learning Machine Lopez for showing us the possibility in Google Slides to give a presentation with captions generated automatically. I really didn't think this would work, but I was actually blown away with the precision. So that's a super positive use of AI, but what about the dark uses of AI? Here's some interesting reading for you. It's called the Awful AI GitHub repository, and it has listed some dark or shady uses of machine learning over the past few years. It includes racist chatbots, crime prediction, fake news, and population control. Take the article for a spin. Speaking of population, do you sometimes build personas to try to imagine what your user looks like? Here's a really cool small little tool from DraftBit that allows you to create personas in a matter of seconds. You can choose the hair, the eyes, the color, etc., etc. Kind of fun, and it might be useful for you. Now, speaking of illustrations and design, a Stefan puts it, isometric makes everything look sexy. So here's a nice little site with a very long collection of free isometric objects. You can use them on your website, in your presentations, or on any visual asset. And while we're still being visual, let's talk about the most visual social network, Pinterest. If you're a Pinterest power user, you're gonna love this. Jean strikes again with bulkpinner.app. It allows you to pin multiple images to your Pinterest boards at once. This makes building design boards and mood boards so much easier and so much more fun. Still on the subject of design and making, thanks again to Jean for sharing users.co, which is a strong collection of articles, case studies, podcasts, and books about product. I especially like all the beginner's design books that you can't find on Amazon. Here's a few, download them and read through them. And on the same subject, here's one of my favorite product-oriented books from the last month. It's by productschool.com and it's called The Launch Book. Now, if it turns out you can't design or you can't code or you want to take a shortcut, we've talked about marketplaces in the past like flippa.com that allow you to buy already existing businesses, whether you want to benefit from their SEO or you actually want to monetize the tool. Here's another similar one with a little twist. It's called 1kprojects.com and every project on this website costs less than $1,000 to buy. Here's one example with sametime.co for $950 and here's another one called trailer.me which also costs $950. Check it out, look around, there's actually some even cheaper options. Okay, now for some random tools that I just want to throw at you. A few episodes ago we shared TypeRacer to see who types the fastest from your friends or colleagues. Here's a similar idea but with code. It's called coderacer.me and it's to see who can code the fastest. On the subject of content marketing, we always love tools that allow us to come up with ideas for new content. Here's a cool tool from SEOpresser.com. It's a blog title generator. We checked it out for lifelong learning, the subject of education. You're limited to 5 before you start paying, but you can simply use a VPN if you want to keep using it, and if you really fall in love with the tool, start paying for it. Here's another random one that I really liked. It's a nice resource with 40 years of Apple ads. Here are some of the coolest ones like this one or this one. Okay, and 3 more small random tools that I couldn't place in any category. This has been really helpful. It's called smallpdf.com and it's a super simple, lightweight, low-key way to transfer an image into a PDF in a matter of seconds. Here's a funny one from Ferdinand called the to-don't list, which is the exact opposite of a to-do list. It's all the things you shouldn't do. So if you're trying to change your behavior, maybe this will help. And then this last one, it was kind of random, but I love the user experience on it. It's called rog.io. This is a great example of powerful onboarding. It's a new way to discover new products. The time to wow was really, really low. I can basically look at a few seconds of a game and see if I like it or not and move on to the next step. These are some of the websites that we talk about in our new series, Website First Dates. Here's a link to some of the first few episodes. Let us know if you like it and please give us names of websites that you'd like us to test in Website First Dates. Thanks a lot. Don't forget to comment and to subscribe to support us. You can download all of the links to the resources and the tools in the description under, and we'll see you really, really soon.